One of the most helpful things that Davis has been able to help me do is just reach decisions with confidence, especially when I'm in a place where I have multiple things that I know I could be doing. And I know each of these things is going to help the business, but I can get to a place where I then just end up spinning my wheels a little bit because I'm either trying to do them all at the same time, or I'm just struggling to decide and prioritize between them. Davis's ability to very quickly just look through those and in like a single sentence, he'll just tell me like, okay, well, here's all the things you're worrying about that don't even make sense to worry about right now. Like, don't even think about these right now. Do this for all of these reasons. It makes sense to like do this first and then go from here to there, then do this next. Just think through those things. And there's been times where like I probably would have just spent a month just wasting my time either on things that I thought were important that actually weren't all that important, or just not focusing on things in the right order, trying to do too many things at once. I think Davis is exceptional at thinking in a very essentialist way of like really getting to the essence of what are these single most important steps we need to take first that are going to make everything else a lot easier. We all know the concept. I'm sure you've probably also experienced being in a place where even though you know that concept, like knowing it and doing it are two very different things. And Davis has been super helpful in helping me narrow those things down and be able to not just make more effective decisions, but then also just have a lot more confidence in those decisions. If you are thinking about it, honestly, I have never met anybody who can solve business problems quite the way that Davis can. If you are at all unsure, just talk to Davis and you'll see very clearly his mind works on a very impressive, very different level. He's an extremely caring and kind person. And I think that combination of the caring along with the analytical skills and just business experience in general, you'll see very quickly after talking to him that he's the real deal. He really knows what he's doing. He really knows what he's talking about. So if you're on the fence, just talk to him. And I am very certain you will see just how helpful of a partner Davis is. Hi, my name is Fabian. I work with online coaches, creators, and experts to help them launch, scale, and grow their online courses. My background is as a designer and artist. I studied illustration at university before realizing the thing I really enjoyed was the creativity of problem solving, marketing, persuasion, building a business. But I, through chance, really partnered with an artist at the time who was creating courses in person, and I helped him, basically approached him to get these courses online. Short answer is I'm from a creative background and it's just an audience that I'm very passionate about serving. So when I first started talking to Davis, I was in a place where I was feeling incredibly frustrated with my business. I'd been working on it for several years at this point, and even though we had built a lot of systems, a lot of things, we had great products that students loved, I felt like the consistency just wasn't there, and each month was just feeling like an uphill struggle, to be honest. Things were just feeling so difficult that it was getting to a point where I was actually just ready to walk away from the business as a whole. I felt like I was just stuck. I couldn't see what the next steps to create were, which order to build things. But most importantly, also, I didn't see the value in the things that we'd created. I was so focused on the things that I knew should be better in the business that I wasn't seeing the assets we'd already created. And I was actually just ready to walk away from the business entirely. Davis, thank God, kind of shook me a little bit, I guess, and helped me see the value in what we had built and helped me really just clearly figure out a path to not walking away from the business, but to actually keep growing it, get some people in place so I wasn't feeling so burned out doing everything myself, get more processes in place, really start gearing the business towards a buyout rather than just walking away from it entirely, which that process alone, just getting everything in place for that, kind of gave me a bit of a second wind with the business. I fell back in love with the business and actually ended up staying on for a whole another year, having, just in a much better place with it. After that, I then did still decide to just different visions. I did decide to sell the business in the end, but it came from a place of like selling a place of abundance of seeing that I had built a valuable asset that I could sell rather than just trying to offload this thing that I thought was like a dumpster fire at the time. So yeah, needless to say, the sum that I walked away with was considerably larger than what I would have walked away with before. So always gonna be very grateful to Davis for that. One thing that's always struck me is Davis's genuine care and concern for both his own business, his own team. Having heard extensively about the behind the scenes of what he's built up, I can tell that he genuinely just cares very deeply about doing a great job and making sure that other people are also able to succeed at what they're doing. Everybody that he's worked with, the amount of times he has asked me just phenomenally, like just fantastic questions based on a very small conversation. He picked up on something that was important to me and would follow up about that a while later. So his attention to detail coming from a place of genuinely caring and like really wanting to make sure that people are doing very well, it's very admirable. And it really sets him apart from a lot of people who I think are just trying to do the very bare minimum. I don't think that's Davis's style ever. I think when Davis does something, he is going to do it correctly. He is going to really see it through. And you know that he's thought it through to like 4 levels deep. Once he decides to do something, whether that's for himself or for other people, he will just go all in on that. And it's very impressive to see. Probably the greatest thing that I have learned from Davis is from his superhuman abilities to break down a problem and really get at the core of like, what is the real problem? What are we actually trying to solve here? His brain is the closest thing I know to a human computer in terms of being able to strategically figure out like all the little bits and pieces of a problem, lay it out, and then build a game plan in a way that to this day, nobody else I know in business, and I know a lot of other entrepreneurs, I know a lot of other people that are incredibly helpful, but Davis's way of thinking is very unique. It's incredibly analytical. And he, especially when you are a founder of a business, you try to be as rational and analytical as you can, but when you're having such a large impact on the business, we all have our flaws in our thinking, emotions. We all act irrationally at times without realizing it. And Davis just has a superhuman ability to kind of cut through that and cut all those things away, remove the emotions, remove the feelings, remove all the mindset biases that you're not even aware that you have, and really just get to the core of the problem and figure out like within a single, like half a Google Doc, he'll have solved all of your problems that you've just been going over and over again in your mind for like months on. It's pretty incredible to see. So that's something I have taken away also now when I work by myself. There will definitely often be times where when I'm just stuck on a problem and I'm kind of overthinking things and going through them, I will just think to the way Davis would break these problems down in our mastermind, be like, okay, well, like how can I just try to describe this in a few sentences the way that Davis would, and then how could I try to get a very short, succinct problem solving system down on a single piece of paper? And that's been incredibly helpful. The real big thing it helped give me was this like sense of a win that I've been able to hold, that working on new businesses, working on things moving forward now, every time I take on a big challenge and inevitably go through that, like the valley of despair and the questioning whether I can do things, I can think back and know like, okay, I have had this huge win of being able to sell a previous business. That's given me this confidence to just move through more difficult things and still have this like deep internal confidence in myself where I don't have to question myself. So that has just been huge for me as a person mentally. On top of that, also, being able to just enjoy life for a while afterwards, especially because I stepped out of it, like I said, not from a place of I need to get rid of this, but from a place of like, okay, I built this business where I've essentially hired myself out of it. Things are running without me. I could check in on it afterwards and see things were ticking along really well. The business was growing after I left, which was a fantastic feeling. Gave me time to explore, got into some nonprofit work, just explored a whole bunch of different hobbies, some ideas, things that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, but just hadn't had time because of the business. So it was a very unique time that I was able to experience, which I feel very fortunate about, being able to take nearly 2 years in my 30s to not really have to focus on making money and just explore and try lots of different things is a very unique, and it was a very meaningful experience that I'm very grateful to Davis for helping me achieve.